and hit OK. And this will be shared in the Soul Steppers Facebook group, as well as for those who register, we will be sending the link and the password to the recording. So again, thank you all for joining us. And with that, I am going to pass it over to my colleague, Strat Paloma.
Thanks very much, Antoine, and hello, Soul Steppers. Thank you again for allowing us to come and share some fraud information with you. It's been a while, but I'm always glad to be with you and have the opportunity to share some fraud information. So I'm not going to be today's presenter. Today's presenter is going to be somebody that's, I guess, a number of you are familiar with, Jackie Wiley, who's an targeted outreach specialist with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. So I'm really grateful that Jackie allowed us some time and came back and shared some more. We'll be sharing some more information about fraud prevention and education with us today. So just a little bit about Jackie, a little bit about her background. She has over 25 years of state service. In 1999, she began her career with the department, working in the enforcement division, serving on the front line of consumer services. Since 2001, she has dedicated her work in the community presenting on financial literacy topics to inform older adults on recognizing the warning signs of financial investment, mortgage, and foreclosure frauds and scams, while empowering consumers of all ages to make informed financial decisions within the Los Angeles County region. So really great to have her back. Jackie's a great speaker, very informative, and I know we're going to learn a lot. So Jackie, welcome. I really appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Strat, and thank you, Soul Steppers, for having me back again. Like Strat said, it's been a while. So today I just want to go over the trending frauds and scams that we have been hearing about. And when I say we, my colleagues and I are out there with the boots on the ground, and we're doing presentations throughout Southern and Northern California. And we're hearing so much, and so many people are becoming victims of financial frauds. And one of the things that I like to say is one is less likely to become a victim if you are aware of what's going on out there. So one is less likely to become a victim if educated about it. So that's what I'm hoping to do today, okay?
Thank you very much, Jackie. Very true. The more we learn, the more we know, the more we're prepared to protect ourselves. So just a couple of housekeeping things before I turn it over to you, Jackie. Please hold your questions till the end of the presentation. Jackie says time to take your questions. If you do want to ask a question as we get to the end, as we get to the question and answer section, feel free to raise your hand or put your question in chat, and we will definitely try to answer your question. Also, I believe this, as Antoine mentioned, this conversation is going to be recorded, and it will be shared with those who registered for the events with an email that include a link and a password that will be sent out after the presentation. So without further ado, Jackie, I hand it over to you. I will bring your slides up.
All right, thank you. I'm hoping one day to come and join the LA Soul Steppers for a morning walk. I keep saying that.
You are more than welcome whenever. 8 o'clock at the mall.
So let's go ahead and get started here. Excuse me. So like Strat said, I am with the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. We are actually formally the Department of Business Oversight. A lot of people have not heard of the DFPI, which I will use that acronym throughout my presentation. We are a state licensing and regulatory agency with oversight of state financial institutions, products, and professionals. And on the screen, I have listed some of the industries that we regulate and oversee. So most of us that are on the line today are probably homeowners, and you deal with financial institutions all the time. We license and oversee state chartered banks and credit unions. If you're a homeowner, or if you're thinking about being a home, the key players are your loan originators, which are your servicers, your financial lenders, your escrow agents. We license and regulate all of those. PACE administrators, and I'll talk just briefly about that in the presentation today. The new oversight for us is money transmitters, which now includes PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, and that is kind of like the new way of transferring monies to one another. Investment advisors, broker dealers, franchises, debt collectors, which had not had an oversight or regulatory agency overseeing them in the past, and that's a new authority for us, as well as the credit reporting agencies and the credit repair agencies, and a host of others. The DFPI actually licensed well over 295,000 industries, and you can always go to our website to find out more of whom they are. Next slide, please. So what is our role as a state government agency? We examine all companies to ensure compliance with state and federal law. Those are those that anybody that is doing any solicitation or doing business within the state of California must be licensed to do so. So we take measures taking action against those operating illegally and using unlawful, deceptive, and or abusive practices. We have our complaint unit has increased, especially since the pandemic. Scammers don't stop doing their jobs. We investigate all the consumer complaints that come into our consumer services unit, and myself as one of the targeted outreach specialists with covering the Los Angeles County region, I'm educating as best I can Californians on how to help avoid these financial frauds and scams, bringing harm and devastation to a lot of individuals and their families, and to help make safe financial decisions. Next slide, please. So how are we promoting consumer awareness? Like I said, I'm boots on the ground. If you know of an agency or an organization or a group that is interested in hearing this presentation, they're all free. All of our presentations are. And we also distribute educational materials, and we have them in multiple languages. And the one that's on the screen has been around with us for a very long time. Inside that booklet, it indicates some of the scams that I am going to go over today, as well as others, and then the tools and some of the resources that you can use to help prevent yourself. Again, when you're aware of the scams, the phone calls, cyber, being online, solicitations to your door, you are less likely to become a victim, because now you're aware of some of the instances that come about. Next slide, please. I want to start with this. During the summer months, winter months, and even when the pandemic came about, a lot of people were home, and they're still home, but people are in the business of doing home improvements, and not everybody can afford to just pay outright for their home improvement, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Not everyone has the ability to do that. So there are several home improvement financing programs that we should all be aware of. Namely, one of them is the PACE program, which stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. They're soliciting these programs to make it seem like there's no money down, no out-of-pocket expenses, but that is not true. A lot of the solicitations are misrepresenting what it is that the individual needs to be aware of. Let's go to the next slide, Strat. So on top of what I just was saying, home improvement financing programs, we license and regulate the PACE industry. And what it is, it's financing to help the homeowner obtain energy efficient and water saving products to their home. we're seeing all kinds of things, especially older adults who are being coaxed into or being led into these loans, because that is what they are. And that word does sometimes doesn't come out of the individual that's soliciting the program. Again, appearing that it's the program is free, that it's a government program. It's neither. People really need to understand that getting granite countertops or new cabinets has nothing to do with energy efficient. So that is not a part of the program. And also that when you're using these financing programs like PACE, HERO, Chief, or REAL, you need to understand that that loan is attached to your property taxes. We're finding that that information has been omitted at times. People are struggling because they didn't understand that. And when they get their property tax bill, it has either doubled or tripled in payment. And now a lot of people have been moved into foreclosure or stand to lose their home because they didn't understand what the program does. So before signing the contract, we implore to you that you check before you sign anything. And you need to check with both agencies, one being the contractor state license board, because those are the people who will be doing the work. And you always want to make sure that their license is valid. And then to the lender, you would come to the DFPI to verify that the lender's license is just that. You also need to understand and ask questions. The individual that is soliciting this programs, they need to make sure that you as a consumer has the ability to pay. A lot of people don't know that that is what they're supposed to do on the spot. So please, 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 if you are doing any kind of home improvements, to please verify your information before you move forward with it. Come to our website under the PACE link here to find out about the risks and the laws that are associated with that, so that you don't fall victim to a possibility of getting solar when you really don't need it, or if it doesn't benefit you, or using this program and being coaxed into doing other things that are not energy efficient products. Okay, next slide, Strat. So let's go ahead and get into some of these other scams. And I wanted this slide to be here because these are the methods of contact that scammers use to get a hold of us. And they came up with all of these nice fancy names, this vishing, smishing, and phishing. And it's just simple. Vishing is contacting us through our telephones, home phone, or our cell phones, or our cell phones. Smishing or text messages. You'll see a text message that'll tell you to click here or to call back this number to verify the information that they have texted you about. Phishing with the PH is, of course, communicating or sending us an email through our computers. So let me just say this, all three of these methods go hand in hand, and this is what the scammers use. These all have the same commonality, and that commonality is it's always a sense of urgency. Please call back here, click here immediately to rectify a situation. But I'm going to say this, do not contact the individual by phone. Don't call the voice message number that they have left. Don't respond to text messages that just all of a sudden come out of nowhere, or these emails. We really need to start paying attention to that. And I know that all phone calls, emails about your bank accounts or offers to do something better than what you might have, like lowering a payment or about your credit card. All of these are very frightening phone calls, emails, and text messages. But just remember, the urgency for you is to go to the source. Never contact the or use the number, text message, or email that they have sent to you. And the reason why is because we have to remember, we don't know who is really on the other end of the line. Next slide, Strat. So, okay, hello, who's calling? Every single day, and if I can see everyone's hands that's on the line today raise up, because we all get solicitation phone calls. We all get them all day, every day, an unknown caller or a number that you don't know who it is. So I want to start with some of the trending scams that we are hearing so much about. So the grandparent relative scam is not new. It has been around for a very long time, but it continues to heighten. It continues to use more and different technologies in order for us to fall for it. And it's that phone call where you get was from somebody identifying themselves as being your grandchild, and they're in a panic and they're in trouble and they need money right away. They don't want you to contact anybody else. To me, right there, that's a red flag sign, because if they're telling you not to do something, you should be skeptical about it. That's number one. But on the flip side of that coin, we all know that grandparents will do what it takes or to help their grandchildren. They don't want their family members or their loved ones to be in harm's way. When you get that call, they're panicking. They need you to send money. They even go further and say, I'm going to put the arresting officer on the line so that he can instruct you on how to send the money so that I don't be arrested. So before you do anything, please verify that your loved one is not in harm's way. That's first and foremost. Secondly, when you answer the phone and you get that panicked voice on the other line with someone identifying themselves as a relative of yours, they're not saying the name. They may or may not, but us, we shouldn't say something like, Jackie, oh my God, is that you? You have just initiated the scam and giving them more information. And then they're going to say, yeah, grandma, it's me. So please, before you do anything, verify that your loved one is not in harm's way. Now, I have the word new technology next to that because now they don't taking it to another level where we really, really, really have to be careful. And that is AI, which is artificial intelligence, voice cloning. It's been all over the news, instances where individuals are calling and they sound so much like the person that they are pretending to be. And it's always someone in harm's way or needing money or needing some type of help. But you are likely could fall for it because the voice sounds just like whom they're pretending to be. So we really, really, really need to be mindful. And, I was doing a presentation the other day, and an audience member, said, maybe as a family member, you should establish a code word to say, I don't care if it's hootie hoo or, to know that it's actually that person that is calling. And if they don't provide that password or that code word, then you'll know that it's not them. This is something that families really need to think about doing with their kids, with their neighbors and with their loved ones and family members. So that AI, artificial intelligence, voice cloning is really prominent today. Credit card, debit card purchases, you might receive a phone call or a text message saying that your credit card has been frozen and you need to call this number right away or to click here to get it rectified. Earlier, I've already said we're not going to do that. When you see something and it's so urgent, you go to the source, meaning you pull out your credit card and you call the number that is on your card. When we're using debit cards and you go to the grocery store and you put your card in, let's try to come away from using debit and use credit. Skimmers are still very prominent. And what those are, they're those devices that are inside or on the machine where we really can't see it with the naked eye. And if you put in your card, punch in your PIN number, they have not only captured your card number, but they have the PIN number that coincides with that card. And when they take the skimmer off, they have all of that information. So if you are using your debit card, which we all know is linked to our bank accounts, you want to bypass that and go to credit. I just simply say to them, I don't want to do debit. How do I do credit? Because it's not always the green button that you press. So please try to remember that it is not only happening outside at machines, gas stations, and ATMs. These things are popping up inside grocery stores, inside departments. So that's another food for thought. Debt collectors. Our unit has seen an increase with complaints pertaining to debt collectors. Individuals are calling and submitting complaints. They're receiving phone calls, and a debt collector, we all know that is a third party trying to collect on a debt that they say that you owe. And the phone call may go something like, hi, I'm calling from ABC Company and your file has come across our desk and we're trying to get this rectified. You have an outstanding bill with Macy's. It shows that you haven't made a payment, and that's why we're calling to give you a courtesy to make the payment. We'll take the payment by phone. All you have to do is provide your credit card number or your checking information to make the payment. And today we're just offering you to pay half. And once you pay half, the debt will be gone away. If you know you don't owe it, unfortunately, we have individuals who have been harassed, who have been threatened by these so-called debt collectors. We actually have a consumer alert, I think, on our website about a company that was posing as one. So please, please, please know again that if you don't owe it, don't pay it. Don't entertain the phone call. We're hanging up. Now, this is the biggest thing. These government imposters, we're hearing about the IRS and the Social Security phone calls or voice message left on individuals' phones indicating that your Social Security card has been frozen or compromised. Please call here. First and foremost, government agencies won't and don't call you. If you get a phone call that shows on your caller ID, which it normally does, saying Internal Revenue Service, you should know one more time that the IRS does not have time to call anyone to remind them about anything pertaining to their taxes. That is a government entity. They don't and they won't call you, okay? So please, please, just because it's showing up on the viewer as a known name or entity that you recognize, remember that I'm telling you, if they're calling you, be skeptical. Go to the source yourself, okay? That utility company scam, that phone call, hi, this is Jackie, I'm calling from ABC Utility Company, and I'm in the delinquent department, and I'm giving you a courtesy call today because at 5 o'clock, your services will be shut off for non-payment of a bill. We can rectify it right now by, again, providing personal information or banking information or credit card information so that your services are not shut off. Let's stop right there and know that a utility company is not going to call you to remind you that your bill is past due. So again, you're going to get that in the mail and tells you past due, please pay immediately. Do not fall for that. IRS, you're going to get any kind of correspondence from them needing to contact you in the mail. a financial institution calling you, telling you that they're verifying information or updating their records, and they need you to identify certain things like your social security number or your banking information. Wait a minute, if I've been a customer for many, many years, you should have that information. So again, don't buy into the incoming calls because you don't know who is calling you. Imposterization is high right now. I mean, it's uncanny. So just go to the source yourself. And that means not contacting or using the phone number that is left on your voice message or in your text message or on your phone. Okay. Next slide, Strat. This was an example that I wanted to put up. This was a woman who I think she was on the news, and she actually got a phone call and she really believed that it was her daughter, and she was panicking and she couldn't get a hold of the daughter. As she was calling the number, she called the police department and they told her, wait a minute, slow down. This sounds like it could be a voice clone. And it was. The daughter finally returned the phone call and told her that she was okay. So again, verify the information, because all of this is again about asking for help and needing money because they're in harm's way. Verify it before you fall for it, and maybe establish that password or phrase between your family members and your kids, especially. Next slide, please. I wanted to give this a phishing example right off the bat. When this slide comes up, the first thing our eyes probably went to is that Bank of America with the logo. It looks very official, but we have to pay attention. This is an email, a phishing email. If you look at the from line at the top, and it says Bank of America, the email that's beside it has nothing to do with Bank of America. It says Comcast, which is a cable company, .net. And then when you go through the body of the letter, there's so many grammatical errors that we need to start paying attention to that. Don't allow the logo fool you into thinking that this is actually where the email has come from. We need to practice the tool of hovering over email links, because on the second paragraph where it shows bankofamerica.com, it looks real, but if you hovered over it, the arrow is pointing to the real email that is hidden under that bankofamerica.com. So don't allow a logo or something that looks official. Do your homework and pay attention to that as well, especially the emails. Next slide, please. Another example, this is an example of some smishing, text messages, smishing, that SMS, when you get a text message and it's real short, like the one on the right at the top where it has a notice and then that number, that is an SMS message, which means short message services, because again, it's of urgency. Your card is temporarily locked. Please call this number to unlock it. Wait a minute, nope, nope, no. We're going to the source. How do you know where that phone number will lead you to? We don't. So we delete that and we go to the source. Same with unusual activity on your online banking. Millions of people are doing online services now, especially since the pandemic came about. But if I'm get a text message that tells me this, of course, I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute. Of course, you're nervous, but you do not go into the link that is provided. Again, remember, the commonality is the urgency for you to not think about it and to just tap on it to go to the link. And if you notice, it doesn't have that S, which means secure. So the link that they're providing is not even a secure link. And if you're not expecting a package, come on, why are you following or tracking something that just pops up into your text messages? If you're not expecting a package, just delete these things. Please delete them. And when in doubt, go to the source yourself. Next slide, Strat. Now, I spoke earlier about the department, the DFPI, having oversight of the new cash, the way we transfer money, which is Venmo, Zelle, and PayPal. If everybody was on, we all went out to dinner as an example, and Strat was so generous. He said, I'm going to put it on my credit card, and everybody just Zelle me or Venmo me your portion. Right there, I said, we have to do the action. So if you were to get a text message in this box, this blue box here, asking you if you attempted to make a Zelle payment for whatever amount, please reply yes or no, and $5,000. Oh no, I didn't try to do that. And you reply no, guarantee you will get a phone call immediately with someone identifying themselves from your bank saying that they want to rectify the response that you just sent. I'll need your banking information so that we can either reverse the charges or make sure that this is settled. While you're providing your banking information, the accomplice is draining the bank account. This, again, scenario was on the news. So please know that if you get any kind of text message and it wants you to reply yes or no, don't do it. Don't do it. Just delete it, and know that you have to perform the action to send the Zelle, the PayPal, or the Cash App to the individual yourself. So that automatic pop-up asking me about it and I didn't do it, that's a red flag sign. Next slide, please. Cyber safety, copycat sites are popping up all over. Amazon had been one. We're doing a lot of online shopping and making reservations and things like that. We need to be mindful and aware of the extension of our sites. Amazon.com has been a copycat site of Amazon for a while, okay? So be mindful when you make your purchase from Amazon. Don't fall for the response or pop-up email to say, hey, there was a problem with your purchase. Please re-enter your credit card information. It happened to a young lady in the audience, and she didn't realize that it was .con, C-O-N, and not com, C-O-M. So be mindful. When you are online, you should be aware and pay attention if the site is secure. Should be looking for that S.
Jackie, can I just jump in here for a second? My apologies for that, everybody. Please, until we get to question and answers, can I please ask everybody to keep themselves on mute? Thank you very much, Jackie.
Okay, thank you. You should be looking for the S after the HTTP. You should see a closed lock, but earlier I mentioned if you are opening up or you get an email, you need to be paying attention to the extension, hovering over it if you are wanting to look at it, something that has come into you. Making sure that it is the appropriate and the correct URL. Two-step verification, this is something that we should think about doing, especially since online banking is very prominent now. Hackers are good at what they do. This two-step verification allows you, when you are logging into, let's say, your online account, for a code to come back to you to verify that it is you that's logging on, okay? Let's start changing our passwords a little more often than we do, and come away from the basic. Oh, my grandbaby was born on January 1, 2010. You know, my anniversary. Let's do something different, okay? Facebook, social media, so much scamming going on. Remember, don't put too much, or stop putting too much personal information on social media. And if you are DMing, or someone DMs you and you don't know who it is, you should only be accepting invitations to people that you know. But again, verification is so key, because there's photoshopping. There's just so many things that people are doing to pretend that they are whom they say they are, okay? So please just go to the source and limit our social media information, okay? And I want to follow that up with this next slide. I know that there are people who, next slide, Strat, who are widowed or alone or live alone, and they're excited about being on Facebook, and if you're looking at somebody, they looking at you. And this is a report from the Federal Trade Commission that says 70,000 people have reported a scam and reported loss in the last 5 years, hit a staggering $1.3 billion, looking for love on the internet, okay? That's an average of $9,500 of loss. So please, if you're looking, they are looking also, okay? And when they start professing they love, wanting to take the conversation offline, that is an indication that there could be something wrong, all right? Next slide, please. So what can we all do to help prevent fraud from happening to us? So we're going to start with never giving out our personal information unless you initiate the contact. And that goes for don't return phone calls, numbers that are left on our voice message, or answering calls from unknown callers, or numbers that we don't recognize, okay? And please, again, government agencies do not call us, and that includes police department, fire department, sheriff department. They don't call to solicit. So if you're getting something like that, don't buy into it. Don't write the check. Don't give them any money. That they don't call us. Don't click on those links on your text messages or your emails, and let's bypass using that PIN number and not use debit when we're purchasing. Go to credit. And if you're still a person who writes checks, there are people who steal things out of our trash cans, those applications or those credit card offers that we just toss in the trash. Please be mindful to start tearing those things up. If you're writing checks, there's still a chance that someone can get a hold of your check and wash the information off of it. It's called check washing. So I'm suggesting that you use an anti-fraud gel pen when you're writing checks, and they could be purchased at Office Max, Staples, and places like that, and it will say it on the packet, okay? That prevents check washing. And if you know that you're not going to get a new credit card, buy a home, or need to use your credit right now for anything new, place the freeze on there. It's free to do that. And if you need to use it, then you can just lift it. But please place the freeze. That gives protection for someone if they should steal your identity and start opening up credit in your name. We may not know about it for a year or so. You can know tomorrow, next week, or months later, but placing the freeze on it prevents that from happening, okay? But it does not prevent the protection of our current credit. So as consumers, we need to monitor all of our statements and not just log out. Don't just X out when we're in websites or on our banking sites and things like that. And if I haven't said anything else today, go to the source. Verify that there is an issue before you depart with your money. Next slide, please. And this is how you can contact the DFPI and learn more about us. You can see our consumer alerts, what the department is doing to bring these unlawful and deceptive companies and individuals down. We have a toll-free number where we have live individuals who answer calls. They can help you file a complaint. They can verify whether an individual or organization that you're thinking about doing business with is properly licensed. You can email us. Sometimes we don't always know if this is a scam or if this is on the up and up, but can you look at this, email us. Please subscribe to our DFPI Consumer Connection newsletter. We're not spamming anybody. You're not going to get a host of emails. It comes out once a month, and you can subscribe by going to this link or going to our website and subscribe it that way as well. The consumer alerts and just things that the DFPI are doing to help try to make California safe. Next slide. So with that, I want to say thank you for allowing me to share. And, bosses always want to know how we did and if you got anything out of the presentation. How did I do? If you want to hit the QR code or go to this link, please take a few minutes to just do the survey. It's just 5 questions. Thank you for allowing me to be here.